Capturing a high-speed race, spanning miles of treacherous mountain terrain, is one thing. But how do you successfully move massive amounts of 4K and 6K footage from the race to an editor who's 1,000 miles away? Most teams can't do it. But filmmaker Nick Cahill and editor Chris Adams, they did it. I sat down with them to uncover how they used a massive workflow to bypass the typical bottlenecks to collaborate and deliver a final edit in record time. Start your engines, let's go.
My name is Nick Cahill, and I like to think of myself as somebody who takes cameras where people don't go. I kind of dabble in 3 different categories. I think of myself as sort of a commercial documentary filmmaker and photographer. I like to work in the action sports world and the automotive space.
Can you tell me a bit about what Pikes Peak International Hill Climb is and how you got involved with it?
Pikes Peak International Hill Climb is a 12-mile race that takes place one day a year in Colorado Springs. So from an automotive perspective, it's extremely enticing. I originally got connected with Pikes Peak because I was looking to film in more automotive spaces than I had been. I've been doing quite a bit of work in the off-road space. So I reached out to all of my automotive contacts and I said, hey, if you know anyone looking for a filmer, I'd love to get out there. And, a week or 2 later, somebody reached back out and said, hey, we're looking for a +1 if you'd like to join our team.
And so when you got started at Pikes Peak, were they eager to give you advice, or is it something that they kind of just like, this guy's going to have to figure it out on his own?
Fortunately, the person who brought me on to film Pikes Peak, he did all the GoPro work for Ken Block's Gymkhanas for like 8 years. So he knew kind of like where the filmers can film at certain times of day and things like that. So we went up and we scouted. It is very much a self-supported style of shoot. And fortunately for me, I kind of come from this expedition style, self-supported style where I can spend 27 days on a glacier in Alaska, and be prepared with my food, my water, my everything, and a little less reliant on like a crafty that's on set sort of situation. So for me, it's kind of like right up my alley of like hiking big mountains at altitude, wearing a big pack, self-sufficiency, being prepared for the weather, having your snacks, your water, and kind of like everything like that.
That's awesome. I mean, you've been doing this for 3 years, right? Talk to me a bit about what the conversations were like, especially with Chris, who is your editor. What were those conversations like early on about the project, both creatively and logistically?
The logistics of filming Pikes Peak are pretty advanced, I'd say. You have to get up at like 2:30 in the morning. You're like leaving the house by 3. You're getting in line to enter the gates by 3:30. And then the filmers go up on their own and basically dropped off in the middle of the forest on the mountain, by 4 a.m. And at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, they're like running the race cars up as soon as there's enough light. And then from like a post-production side of logistics, it's also almost as challenging. Do I mail a hard drive to my editor in Southern California at the end or at race day, or do I mail every single day like a drive so they can start working on it as fast as possible, because that's kind of the nature of content these days. This year we were fortunate enough to use MASV, and each day when I came back, I was able to do my DIT, double back it up, and then immediately start uploading the files. And the way it works is they automatically start downloading on there. And so for me, from a logistics standpoint on getting them the footage, it was like really, really nice to be able to just do it, download it, upload it in one lump sum, just a simple drag and drop, stick it in there, and then like I can like continue shooting for the rest of the day or go do my thing or take a nap, right? Because it's 9 a.m. and I've already had an 8-9 hour day.
I kind of want to shift gears a little bit, and I actually want to talk a bit about your kit, your setup, your gear. What kind of equipment did you bring on this shoot in terms of camera body, lenses, camera cards? Kind of give me the whole rundown for the nerds out there.
From a technical standpoint, the gear I was using, I shot all 3 years on the Komodo X. I used a Revolva for ND to make things really quick. The light is constantly changing, a RED DSMC3 monitor, a Rode NTG4 self-powered mic, and then I've got some Condor Blue accessories that have a really nice run stop, and then time code that I sometimes put on Tom. In addition to all that gear, I had OWC cards, and then I use their portable drives as well for all the on-site DIT. Just, they're reliable, they're fast, they work well. I've never had an issue with them.
One of the tools that I think originally got both of us excited when we started talking about this project was the ability to use multi-connect. Can you talk a little bit about your experience with that? I mean, the hardships of it, the glory of it when it started working, kind of give us some insight on that.
The multi-connect is pretty sick because I brought a Starlink out as well. So when I got home to the Airbnb, I can be uploading from, the hardwired connected internet that the Airbnb had, where I could physically connect it in, and then in addition to that, I could run it off Wi-Fi at the same time. So I brought the Starlink that I own, and I multi-connected, so I'm literally pumping through 2 internet service providers, and wasn't quite doubling it, but that's just given my location and things like that. But I was going faster than I would have otherwise, and the ability to do that's pretty cool. I didn't do it off my cell phone, but you have the ability to do it off a bunch of cell phones as well, and like really pump it out. Think of it like blowing air through a straw versus a garden hose versus a fire hose. You know, the more you do, the more footage you can pump through.
That's awesome. And I guess this also leads me to another question I have, which is, how does the remote nature of Pikes Peak affect your planning of your workflow versus, other locations that you would shoot at?
The remoteness of Pikes Peak comes with its own challenges. It being far away from where my editors live, I would have to like mail a drive or fly them out, and they need to be on-site editing. So the nature of it and its challenges and its geography and where it's at physically is kind of hard. But, by the ability to use MASV and be able to send the files, it kind of makes it as if you have an editor like right there.
So, Chris, I was hoping you could do a little bit of an intro for yourself.
My name's Chris Adams, Drive Media, director, DP, and editor. On our end, we were able to receive all the files from you guys via MASV, which was a huge help because these guys were in Colorado, obviously. We were able to get a jump start on all the content, and that stuff should be coming out here shortly.
What kind of storage are you usually editing off of? Is this a NAS? Is this SSDs that you just have locally?
I'm using a Max Digital 8-bay RAID system. And so back here, and you end up with lots of these. And they're all in, my RAIDs are all actually behind my computer right now, but
right.
We put 20 terabytes in and then RAID 6 them. So if we have a drive failure, we can have up to 2 drive failures.
That's great. So, Nick and I have been chatting a bit about kind of the workflow, and interested to get your take on what was it like receiving the footage via MASV each day?
It was seamless. It was really nice because no matter what I was working on, it kind of just populated into this folder. And at the end of the day, I can see if I've received everything or if there's still stuff downloading, and it's all right there. And so every day I would just double check and be like, okay, this is what I got. And then I'd populate it into an album for day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, just to keep it kind of organized. But Nick started even labeling stuff as he sent it to me so that it didn't come in as just a bunch of cards. It came in as an organized file structure.
Wow, that's fantastic. So to be clear, you were using the MASV desktop app, and then you were automating the transfers to the MASV portal directly to your workstation.
Directly onto my RAIDs.
And what kind of internet speed do you have at the house there?
Right now, I'm getting 450 down.
Amazing. That's a huge. Nick's very jealous. And this is a bit more of a creative question for you, Chris, which is, you're receiving this footage while the shoot's ongoing. Does that change how you approach the editorial process creatively?
And I think it depends on the application. So for this type of a situation, we're filming qualifying and we're filming practice, and you don't know what's going to happen on race day, and the bulk of the story is the race, right? So what it allowed us to do was every day go in and spend 30 or 40 minutes just review the footage, pull your selects, find the beautiful stuff, and get organized. So like by the time you get race day footage, everything else is really well organized so that when they come back from the race, like, this is what we want. It's like, cool, we've already seen all that footage and we can start putting it together.
So a question kind of for both of you, right? And Chris, feel free to kind of take the lead on this, but what would this workflow have looked like if you had gone the route of just shipping hard drives every day or at the end of the project, at the end of the shoot?
I think for a budget constraint, it wouldn't make sense to send a hard drive every day. So it would have been wait till Nick gets back, essentially. So it would have been an entire week later that we would have gotten our first clips. And it would be, here's everything all at once. Go for it.
Yeah, I think if we were shipping drives, they'd be a week behind, and so like the final deliverable would be at least 1 week behind. The idea of them being able to scrub footage and be like, "Yo, the GoPro settings are way off," or I would like you guys to do this is kind of cool too, right? The course correcting.
So, what advice would you give to someone who's looking at exploring using Massive in the field like you guys did for this project?
I would advise to check it out. Like if you haven't gotten a chance to see what it's capable of, you guys were basically set it all up for me. You made it super easy. You sent me one little video, and within like 5 minutes, we did a test, and it was on my drive. So it's not complicated. It's not rocket science. If you can edit, you can figure out how to run Massive, and it'll streamline your work.
I mean, from my perspective, from the shooting and sending files, it was as easy as a drag and a drop, and then like a quick text like the next morning with Chris, like, or sending him a screenshot like, "Hey, here's my package contents. Here's like what I sent. Like, did you get it? It says you got it on my end, but like, did you?" So it was very easy, and for being like really tired on my end and having like the 2:30 a.m. wake ups for 5 days in a row, it was really nice. So yeah, I would advise to check it out as well. And if mailing a bunch of drives in my situation doesn't make sense, this might.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you both so much for this. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys do next. And if there's anything that Massive can do, you just let us know and we're here to help you. Using the right tools means the difference between success and failure. Nick and Chris easily integrated Massive into their existing workflow. That gave them the speed, security, and reliability they needed to deliver stunning results. If you're tired of remote collaboration slowing down your post-production, it's time to upgrade your pipeline. If you want to learn more or try Massive for yourself, visit massive.io today. Thanks. I'll see you in the next one.